Hey, I'm Jay. Welcome to my booth. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to add a bit of polish to the sections of VoiceOver, the little ads that you've made so far in this demo tutorial series. Let's get into it. So the last little things that I'll do to really give this a bit of polish before moving on to a final sort of polish stage is add some fades to the music. This is just a nice little touch that improves the overall, I think, quality of the ad in general. So to do that, you just go to the corner of the music or whatever sample you want to add a fade to and simply drag when you see this symbol. And if you hover over it so you can see the symbol and right-click, it will give you options for the type of fade. For fade outs, I tend to like this S curve just because it's a little bit more gentle and brings it down to silence in a good way. So I'll just extend that a bit more, give myself a little bit of breathing room. And that's just a nice little polish before we move on to giving this a critical listen and then fine-tuning it before adding it to our compilation demo, which will be the full 1 minute long thing. In a critical listen, I like to give it the grocery store test, as it were. In a grocery store test, if you've ever been in a grocery store, usually there's a radio station playing or music playing. And whenever an ad comes on or the announcer comes on the radio, the DJ, there are times when I'll find my attention being pulled towards whatever is being said, towards the advertisement, the song, whatever it may be. That, in our critical listen of our demo, is a good sign. That's what we want, if our attention is pulled towards it. If, on the other hand, you give it the grocery store test and you find your mind wandering, thinking about, do I get the Oreos? Do we already have Oreos? Do I need Oreos? I want some Oreos right now. If you find your mind wandering, it's a sign to go back to the drawing board and maybe tighten things up a bit. So let's give this a critical listen and see what we can find. These kids are the pickiest eaters. I'm worried my little ones aren't getting the vitamins in their diet that they need. I sometimes get away with hiding the occasional carrot in a casserole that they'll actually eat, but that doesn't happen often enough. My doctor recommended VitaFun Children's Vitamins. They're gummy and delicious, and my kids just love them. Now they get a snack, and I get the reassurance that they're full of the vitamins they need. Now, if only adult vitamins were this delicious. In my critical listen, there are a couple things that I want to do. Firstly, I think I'm going to cut this last thing out because it has this nice boom. And then I could say, now, if only adult vitamins were this delicious. So I'm going to turn this fade to be really abrupt. I'm going to drag this over and essentially cut out that last little bit of music so we can get a little bit of comedic effect. Here's what it'll sound like. And I get the reassurance that they're full of the vitamins they need. Now, if only adult vitamins were this delicious. I think that's pretty funny. So we'll go with that, but this ad, for the sake of our demo, is just too long. So we're going to go a bit back to the drawing board and tweak some things to tighten this up to be really sharp. The reason I do these steps in this way before going back and finalizing things is this ad in and of itself is a great singular standalone sample for you to use on casting websites or roster websites, things like voices.com, Voice123. This is the type of thing that you'll want on your profile there, so you can follow these sort of deals. You could even go shorter. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go back to the script and essentially rework things to get down to the bare bone essentials of what this ad needs. So if we look at this script, let's go through it and talk about what exactly the story is here. These kids are the pickiest eaters. Okay, that's a great introduction to the problem. I'm worried my little ones aren't getting the vitamins in their diet that they need. That is somewhat more the crux of the issue, that you, the parent, are worried your kids aren't getting vitamins. So these two sentences both kind of say the same or very similar things. So we're going to keep the one that has more of the conflict in it. Alternatively, we could pick and choose one of the two. So these kids are the pickiest eaters. I sometimes get away with hiding the occasional carrot in a casserole that they'll actually eat, but that doesn't happen often enough. That's kind of funny. Alternatively, I'm worried my little ones aren't getting the vitamins in their diet that they need. Occasionally, I'll get away with hiding the occasional carrot, but that doesn't happen often enough. So the reason I'm leaning towards this version is because we use the word vitamins, which is, after all, the solution that the doctor presents. So I'm going to delete "these kids are the pickiest eaters," and then I'm going to change "little ones. I'm worried my kids," just because it's a bit shorter, a bit more streamlined. And then I'm going to say, "I'm worried they aren't getting the vitamins that they need." Additionally, I can rewrite things to say, "My kids are so picky, I'm worried they're not getting the vitamins they need." Let's try that, actually. Great. So we kind of combined the two sentences into something streamlined. "I sometimes get away with hiding the occasional carrot in a casserole that they'll actually eat, but that doesn't happen often enough." Okay, seems to work. "My doctor recommended VitaFun children's vitamins." We definitely need to keep that. "They're gummy and delicious, and my kids just love them. Now they get a snack, and I get the reassurance that they're full of vitamins." We don't really need this, that they're gummy and delicious, if we're really paring it down. "My doctor recommended VitaFun children's vitamins. Now I get the reassurance that they're full of the vitamins they need." Ideally, we would keep both, but this streamlines it a bit more. And then we don't really need the "if only adult vitamins were this delicious." Let's try this on for size. My kids are such picky eaters. I'm worried they aren't getting the vitamins they need. I sometimes get away with hiding the occasional carrot in the casserole that they'll actually eat, but that doesn't happen often enough. My doctor recommended VitaFun children's vitamins. Now I get the reassurance that they're full of the vitamins they need. We could even get rid of that last bit. My doctor recommended VitaFun children's vitamins. My doctor recommended this thing. That's it. That's all we need. So let's go with this just to keep it really cutthroat and short. We'll go back to Reaper here. My kids are such picky eaters, I'm worried they aren't getting the vitamins they need. I sometimes get away hiding the occasional carrot in a casserole that they'll actually eat, but that doesn't happen often enough. My doctor recommended VitaFun children's vitamins. Great. So that's about 15 seconds, which is plenty long enough. And it's even on the edge of a bit too long. So if we really wanted to get cutthroat, we could trim a little bit here and there. But for now, we're just going to leave it at that. So we're going to go back to Reaper, and I'm simply going to drag the music over. To do this, you can hold down the button Control, and you'll get this sort of plus indicator, and you can simply drag and copy it. Again, I'm going to line up this blank space with but that doesn't happen often enough, because that's our funny line, and pull this over so that it's right at the start of the audio, and pull this over likewise so that it's at the end of the audio. And we can trim this up a bit as well. And now let's give that a listen. My kids are such picky eaters, I'm worried they aren't getting the vitamins they need. I sometimes get away hiding the occasional carrot in a casserole that they'll actually eat, but that doesn't happen often enough. My doctor recommended VitaFun children's vitamins. Great. That sounds really, really nice, succinct, short. We get the idea. That's all we need for our demo. We're just giving a shade of ourselves, a color of ourselves in context with a little bit of a story. I hope that was helpful for you. In the next video, we'll wrap it all up and talk about how you can compose these demos together and some thoughts and opinions that I have, should you find them useful. Until then, be well. Toodles.